Hello, everyone. I'm Andy,
And I'm Sean.
and this is the Commander's Brew.
This week, Rielle's spells.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for watching here on YouTube. It's the Commander's Brew. It's our big deck tech for this week. If you want to help us out, you know what to do. Hitting subscribe is like the number one way to help us out. It's so easy, and we're crawling up there. We're getting close to that 10K subscribers. Thanks to all the people who've done that. So thanks so much. Continue to do so. It really helps. Big milestone for us. If you want to get involved more directly, you can check us out at Patreon, patreon.com/commandersbrew, where you can go, you can get in there, you can donate directly to the show and get involved in our Discord, where we are brewing decks like this one from this week. We're scheduling VEDH meetups and games and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. Come check out our Discord. Get involved in it. Patreon.com/commandersbrew. But without further ado, let's get into today's deck tech.
So this deck tech is Rielle the Everwise. I'm calling it Rielle's spells. Rielle came from Ikoria, and I think she's a fantastic commander. Izzet, I love Izzet, the Izzet colors. We're going to be doing a lot of spell slinging, and me and the gang from Discord came up with a pretty neat brew. Here's Rielle. Rielle the Everwise is 1 blue-red, legendary human wizard, 0/3. Gets +1/+0 for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. Whenever you discard one or more cards for the first time each turn, draw that many cards. So we're getting extra draw from our discard. And she's a bit of a Voltron commander. That's how we're looking at this. We're looking to be Rielle Voltron. So that's the deck. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into these neat moves.
Working on a
Neat.
So obviously, Rielle is an amazing commander as a draw engine, right? Drawing a lot of cards is an amazing way to get card advantage, and whenever you discard one on each turn, you draw that many cards. Ikoria, to many drafters' chagrin, or the opposite of chagrin, they had a lot of single mana cycling cards. And cycling is discard a card and then draw a card. But with Rielle, whenever we discard that card, if it's the first time we discarded that turn, we will draw 2 cards, one for the cycle and one for Rielle's ability. So those single mana cyclers basically let us draw 2 cards at instant speed, only once on everyone's turn, but it works on everyone's turn. So if we got enough of these 1 mana cyclers, I can do it on your turn and then the next person's turn and the next person's turn, and by the time it gets back to me, I've got 4 additional cards in my hand, and 1 extra mana is usually able to do. So I've included every single instant and sorcery that cycles for a single mana. Regardless if we like it or not, it's just in there to be draw and to make Rielle bigger, because as we cycle it, she'll also get an extra +1/+0.
Right.
For example, Mage's Guile, it cycles for a blue, or we can pay 1 in a blue to give target creature Shroud until end of turn. With a Voltron commander, you want Shroud on your commander sometimes, so we might actually cast this for its main ability. We're also running Compelling Argument and the like. There are similar cards like this, but this one is cycling for a blue, or we can pay 1 in a blue, target player, probably us, puts the top 5 cards of the library into the graveyard. So gets more spells in there, helps Rielle get bigger, or we can draw 2 if we want to. And I'm even running Backslide. 1 in a blue, turn target creature with morph face down. I don't think we'll ever be able to cast this, but we can pay a blue and cycle it and draw 2, and Rielle gets 1 bigger, and that's just great.
What a massive surprise it is to the person running that like Sultai Precon commander with all the morphs in it.
Yeah.
When he swings out, he got his big morph guy, he unmorphs it, he's like, great, like here it is, here's my guy, and you're like, Backslide. You're like, what?
No one has ever played this card.
Yeah, right? Unbelievable. Yeah. No, for the one.
There's quite a few of them. Some of them are good to cast, some of them are not. But we'll be able to draw so many cards through that. We're also able to run a few fewer lands than average. I did a little testing, and it still runs pretty smoothly. Yeah, so I don't mind doing that.
Great. You're going to need some other stuff, though. You're going to need some things that are going to sort of compound that the ability of that Rielle's getting, which is a lot of the cycling going on and so on. So our graveyard's filling up, right, with a lot of these instants and sorceries that you've got cycling on. So let's take advantage of that and run some stuff like Spellheart Chimera. 1 blue red, the creature, the Chimera, with star 3 with flying and trample, and it says that its power is equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. So I think you can kind of see where we're going with this. There's another couple other creatures like this, including Crackling Drake. Blue, red for a Drake. That's a star 4 with flying. Similar thing. Its power is equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards you own in exile and your graveyard. So this one has that. And also you draw a card when it ETBs. We also have Chasm Skulker, 2 and a blue for a 1/1 Squid Horror. Whenever you draw a card, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then if it dies, you create X 1/1 blue squid creature tokens with Island Walk, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Chasm Skulker. Not power, +1/+1 counters. Remember that, because I always think it's the power. But a great card always in these types of decks. And then we also have Oneiriophage, which is a relatively new-ish card from Modern Horizons. 3 blue for the 1/2 Squid Illusion with flying, and it says whenever you draw a card, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. So just things that are going to be getting bigger, whether it's drawing cards or simply from having the cards that we've cycled in our graveyards. These are just... I love a little bit of redundancy when we're talking about getting a big creature and attacking through. So whether it's our commander or whatever, getting those creatures is great.
Yeah, that's one of the things where I felt comfortable just be like all our eggs aren't in the Rielle basket.
Right.
Like if you deal with Rielle, I hate to lose that cycling discard drawing engine, but hopefully I can get these other creatures just as big to do the job.
Totally.
And so what do we do once we have someone, maybe Rielle, maybe one of these chimeras? I'm happy to cast Artful Dodge. That's a sorcery. Target creature's unblockable this turn. It also has flashback for a blue. We're dumping so much stuff in our graveyard. Maybe this ends up in the graveyard. I can just flash it back, make Rielle unblockable. Boom, you're dead.
Love it.
You do lose a spell from the graveyard by flashing it back because it is now out of the graveyard. So like that does take us back by 1 point.
But not if you got Crackling Drake.
That's true. Crackling Drake doesn't care. That's right. We're also running Key to the City. I love this card. 2 mana for an artifact, and you can tap it to discard a card. And if we do that with Rielle, we will get to draw a card right away from it. Up to 1 target creature can't be blocked this turn, probably Rielle. And when it becomes untapped, you may pay 2 if you do draw a card. If we've got extra mana, I'm happy to do that, but Rielle will pay us back in that card for free immediately. So maybe I won't do that. I'll just take that card and I'd probably be happy with that. And one other way we're going to just get our creatures through, the simple Crash Through. A single red mana for a sorcery. Creatures you control gain trample until end of turn. I don't care what you got as blockers. If I have like a 16/3 trampler, it also draws you a card. So we're cycling through, we're getting extra draws, we're just dumping all these things, and hopefully we're just going to do a ton of damage at once.
Not bad.
Very fun.
Yeah, got to get them through. We also have some cool, specifically Rielle style interactions in here. Other sneaky ways we can discard cards to draw more cards. So I'm talking about Grimoire of the Dead. 4 generic for the legendary artifact. Pay 1. Recently reprinted, am I right?
Yeah.
1 and tap to discard a card and put a study counter on Grimoire of the Dead. And then tap, remove 3 study counters from it, and sacrifice it. Put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. They're black zombies in addition to their other colors and types.
The great thing about this card is that we're getting paid back with that discard card right away. Mm-hmm. And it extracts all of our creatures if we get to the point where we can crack it open. It'll extract all the creatures, but leave all the instants and sorceries in there. And plus we get all the creatures from other people's graveyards too, which is awesome.
Yeah. Rise of the Dark Realms is a pretty nice effect. Although this one came first. We also have Dreamscape Artist, 1 in a blue for the Human Spell Shaper. 1/1. It has 2 in a blue and tap it and discard a card and sacrifice a land. So you got to do quite a bit. But search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So this is, if you, what episode was this? When I discovered this, because it was
vegetables,
straight
it
up
was Chromium's vegetables.
Yeah, where I was like, what is going on? Why isn't this card green? This shouldn't be a blue card. How does blue get this ability also? And then you find out it's from like Planar Chaos or whatever, and you're like, oh god, of course. But yeah, this is just, I mean, the discard effect here is great for us, but also we're ramping with this guy. Like, this is nuts.
Yeah, it basically turns any card into Harrow if Harrow paid you back by drawing a card as well.
Yeah, which is pretty good. Yeah. We'll take it. And finally, we also have Forbid here, which is a much maligned Magic card to see across the table, but you love it when you have it because you feel so safe. 1 blue for an instant with buyback, in which you discard 2 cards is the buyback cost, and it's just counter target spell. So it's a counter spell that if you're flush with cards, like it doesn't leave your hand for a pretty long time. It's tough to deal with. That's what I'm saying though, is that you feel safe when you have a Forbid and a couple of cards in your hand.
And just think of that with Rielle.
Yeah,
like exactly. You get those 2 cards back right away.
There is no buyback cost. Really.
The buyback is just cycling, I guess. Like you just have to trade 2 cards for 2 new cards. That's all you have to do.
Bonkers.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. I want to highlight a few other neat moves that this deck has in it. In the Discord, great suggestion of Mirror Mad Phantasm. 3 blue for a spirit. It's 5/1 and it has flying. But here's the key ability. 1 in a blue. Mirror Mad Phantasm's owner shuffles it into their library. If that player does, they reveal cards from the top of the library until a card named Mirror Mad Phantasm is revealed. Put that card onto the battlefield and all the other ones in the graveyard. So, statistically, we can assume if you shuffle Mirror Mad in, it'll be about halfway in, right? It'll have that bell curve, like very few times it'll be on the very bottom, very few times on the very top, but most of the time somewhere in the middle. So the simple way to look at it is you're just going to cut your deck in half and throw the top in the graveyard.
Well, no, it's random.
It is random.
There's no the odds are not that it'll be in the middle. It's just that it's completely random the place it'll be, right? Like there's no bell curve.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. I guess it's just an even spread across every spot.
Yeah, exactly. It's completely random.
Yeah. But I guess if you but that means if you average them together, then it would average to 50?
I don't know. Yes.
Like for every first card, it is matched up with a 100th card.
I don't know about probabilities and stuff. But
without going into it,
yeah,
you can probably assume that you're going to cut a bunch of your deck in half, throw it all in the graveyard. Most of them are going to be instants and sorceries, so it'll just pump Rielle up by a ton at instant speed.
I'm more like, I'm shocked I've never seen this card before or something. Like I feel like I have seen it, but like I've never considered it for some reason. But now I'm like, oh, this is a pretty good mill card. Like
it's a key part of a lot of like Lab Maniac decks.
I guess because You can.
There's
got to be a way to do this where like you.
Well, I mean, so the Lab Maniac trick is to make a token of this, and then try to shuffle the token in, but you can't find it, so you dump your whole library in the graveyard.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, does it work that way, that I want it to, where it's like I put it in and then somehow don't find it? Yeah.
Only if it's a token, it works.
Okay. Cool. Cool though. This is really neat.
Yeah. So like Rielle loves having this one behind her, just ready to go. Yeah. This card came from the Commander precons. Angie's Ravager.
Angie.
Yeah.
I like our version better. It's Anya. Of course, we've been corrected a lot after the fact, but I like Angie better.
Angie's Ravager. 2 in a red, Vampire Berserker, attacks each combat of Fable. Whenever Angie's Ravager attacks, discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. And it has Madness 1 and a red. It's 3/3. So, like, often, like, I didn't go into them. Like, cycling cards have to discard themselves, but I do also run, a few of those cards where you have to, like, discard a card to draw some cards. Because those have great synergy with Rielle. But if we discard this Madness card, we get to actually put it on the battlefield. So we're getting even more card advantage that way. And we can have this card appear at instant speed if we can do that at the end of someone's turn.
Yeah.
So then when we attack, we discard our whole hand. Let's say that's 4 cards. We're going to draw the 3, but Rielle has us also draw the 4 that we discarded if it's our first discard of the turn. So as long as we don't cycle beforehand. And if we want to keep all those cards, as long as we can cycle one of them, we can sort of check mark Rielle's ability, and then this won't have Rielle do our redraw. We have to discard our hand anyway, so I don't know why you wouldn't. Yeah, it's a great way to get, and so we can get tons more cards in the graveyard. And like, this is the thing, like sometimes if I've been cycling on everyone's turn, I can end up on my turn with like 10 cards in my hand. So sometimes I want to attack with Angie's Ravager, dump 10 cards, draw 13 cards, because what if I have oops, I jumped it, but jump 2. What if I have an Ominous Seize on the battlefield? I'm going to put 13 counters on it. If that's that enchantment that's 1 and a blue, whenever you draw a card, put a counter on it. And you can take away 8 counters to put an 8/8 blue Kraken creature token onto the battlefield. And this enchantment doesn't go away. It's possible to like just dump a couple of Krakens in a turn rotation because of these wheel type effects.
Wow.
I mean, I skipped over Jace's Archivist, which is another key player. 1 blue for a Vidalcan Wizard, 2/2, blue and a tap. Each player discards their hand and draws equal to the greatest number of cards a player discarded that way. So you usually get you're probably discarding the most cards this way, but we don't care because we're putting a million counters on Ominous Seize. Rielle's getting another +6 power boost. I didn't go into it, but I am running cards like Teamer Battle Rage that like will just give her double strike and trample.
Right.
What about the new in the new set? There's a red card that just doubles a creature's power.
Yeah. Which I like, which I kind of like better than double strike, because you can, if you were to like copy that spell, it has an effect. Whereas like giving something double strike twice doesn't do anything, but doubling power twice sure does. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta say, the Discord has been so much fun brewing this deck. Like our Discord is prolific.
Yeah.
Like there were so many great suggestions, enough for 2 whole decks. I used less cards than I did use, or I didn't use more cards than I actually used because there were so many great suggestions. One of the things I went with the deck direction is like, there's a world where Rielle is casting a ton of spells, but because I'm cycling so much, I'm not actually casting a ton of spells, so I don't have any sort of storm type effects or like every time you cast a spell something happens. I don't run a ton of those effects, barring a couple.
That's fine. I mean, I think that's like a storm is kind of a popular way to go with this type of commander. Wheeling and storming and stuff like that is all kind of feels like it's in the same vein. So I like the idea of switching it up a little bit,
Yeah.
Also, I played a storm deck the other day where even though like whatever, it could have been disrupted, but sometimes people aren't running as much disruption as they should, and a storm deck just is allowed to go. And you're just like, well, if you're just going to let me go, I'm going to win. Like I'm just going to, you're not even going to put up a fight. I just get to storm. Like I cast 1,000-Year Storm, and now I just get to win. It's like, okay, well, hey, all right. So, sometimes you want to make it, I don't know, a little better for players who aren't used to playing against storm, perhaps.
Sure. Most of the counter spells in this deck are those ones that are like, they have cycling, or they're just like, hey, they counter it for how many cards are in your graveyard. I'm like, yeah, I can do that. Okay. I've got a lot of cards in there.
What about surprises and discoveries? I'm liking the way this is coming together, and this feels like the type of of deck where we're going to see an interesting one here.
So I got to give credit to this one to our pal Neomaxis from the Discord. Wealth of cards. Why don't you take this one? I want to. Maybe you know about it. Maybe I didn't know about this card before.
I can tell you, I don't recognize the art. Veilstone Amulet. 3 generic for an artifact. It's rare. Whenever you play a spell, creatures you control can't be the targets of spells or abilities your opponents control this turn. And that is exactly what it says. It's not Shroud.
Or Hexproof.
Or Hexproof. Whenever you cast a spell, creatures you control can't be the targets of spells or abilities your opponents control this turn. That's not hexproof somehow.
Yeah, and it doesn't say they gain hexproof, but it is basically hexproof.
How is it not hexproof? That's what I don't understand.
I don't know, but anything that says creatures lose hexproof won't work on it.
Won't work, yeah.
So you still get that effect. And like I said, we have enough of these little cantrippy dumb spells that in an emergency, if we need to protect Rielle, because a lot of our eggs are in that basket, we can just fire off a little, like, you know, some little instant or something to just make sure she or our chimeras have hexproof. And we're like, great. Now she will kill you.
This is wild, because it's also not just like the first time you do it. So no. Like you can, if you had this out, you know, you cast let's say you cast like another creature or something, and then someone goes to remove something. Well, if you have an instant speed thing, you can just do it again, and then yeah. How have we never heard? I guess you know what? Because whenever we're looking for stuff, we're probably looking for like hexproof.
Hexproof, and it's not in the Oracle text, so it doesn't come up on any searches for hexproof.
That's right.
Yes.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's from Future Sight, and it's like $350.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing though. So like, because it doesn't just grant hexproof, if someone goes to remove something, if it's instant speed removal, they can get you still, right? Because especially but as long as you have an instant speed spell of any kind at your, you know, in your hand, you can trump their removal that way.
Yeah, your opponent can. If your opponent sees it, they're probably like, "Well, I have to wait until you tap out."
Yeah,
to do it.
Yeah, so there's still timing involved, and there's still like you're gonna want an instant speed spell. So you kind of it's almost like you're gonna want a counter spell, so to speak, right? But it could be anything, and I still think that's really good, you know.
But if I have 2 instants, I can just we can just keep going back and forth. Yeah.
Well, it's like you don't even have to do the instants. It's like okay, main phase, like first main phase, like I'll just cast my creature, and then they're like, aha, okay, now I'll get you.
Yeah, I was like,
right,
boom.
Well, I have an instant, so it's tough, you know.
Suck eggs.
Yeah, kick rocks, brother. All right, cool.
So
well, yeah,
I want to thank that.
This is great find.
It's so fun, and obviously, like, it's a little bit fragile. If your opponents just demolish Rielle every time she comes out, you're not going to get you're not going to be able to play your Magic game. If your graveyard gets exiled, that's a tough one. Like that's gonna really hurt the game plan a little bit. You're gonna have to rely on Chasm Skulker or those kind of things. But I will say this: although it is fragile, leading up to your win or your eventual demise, it's a blast. This is a deck where you're never sitting around doing nothing. You're always doing things, and I just love. It's got velocity. I love that.
Okay, I have a question. So I can't. Sorry, it's still Veilstone Amulet.
Yeah.
So, whenever you play a spell, creatures you control can't be the targets of spells or abilities your opponents control this turn.
Yeah.
So if I cast Rielle,
yeah.
Does she get the protection? Because it's saying that it's not like it doesn't grant the creature an ability. The creatures you control just can't be targets until for this turn.
Yeah.
Am I right in that it does, like, once she's on the battlefield, she's also protected? I also very well could be wrong on that, but it's like there's something about it that makes me like pause and go like, maybe it actually does protect the commander. So I was gonna say like it doesn't protect her if you have this out first and you cast her, but I'm like, wait, maybe it does, because it's just saying till end of turn your creatures can't be targeted. So if she's a creature you own, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm on the Gatherer page, and usually Gatherer gives you some like special rules at the bottom of the card, but it doesn't. This card's got nothing written.
No
so like,
one's ever played with this card.
I mean, maybe not. You'd have to go look it up. You'd have to go like looking on the.
Yeah, well, correct us if we are wrong. I kind of think that might be what it is, but again, you never know with Magic rules. Could just be pure wrong about that. But anyways, it's maybe it is that way. Either way, we've talked about some confusing rules, so that means it is now time for the budget report.
Oh, before I want to thank our Discord help.
Oh, okay.
I want to thank because this deck would have been very different without you. So just in the order that I saw them come up, in no particular order, thank you to Dylan PH, Chiefy, Kydron, Brave Sir Robin, Dino Pirate, Beppo, Lolwhat, Senator Og, King Maverick, Papadio, Pips Don't Lie. Thank you for all your help, all those wonderful suggestions. So sorry if I missed one of you who only had a glimmer in the Discord there. It was prolific. But I look forward to brewing with you again. I always have a blast. Now, let's do the budget report.
Now let's do it.
We're going to take all the cards, we're going to cycle them away, and every dollar we spend is going to come back as $2.
Ooh, profit.
It's what they say, right? Like, just put it out there. If you want, like, whatever you put out into the world comes back to you twofold. That's Rielle. That's Rielle. I had a hard time. Let me check right now. When I put this deck on TCG Player, like they're weird. It wasn't working price-wise. Oh, here it is. Yeah, something's wrong. Weird. So because it's for some reason right now, the mountains are $5 a piece for median price. So I can't give you an accurate median price.
Weird.
It is way less than $220 because like there's like $150 in lands alone in the basic mountains. I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
That's strange. Just sort of looking at a different source, it looks like this is a very cheap deck.
Yeah, and it should be because most of them are dumb cyclers and like...
We're looking like $58, like...
Yeah.
Like, this is like old school Commander's Brew. Like, you don't have to do very much work to make this fit the old rules.
No, it's cheap.
Cut a Soul Ring, cut that Veilstone Amulet, which is about $5 apparently, and you got yourself a $50 deck here.
Yeah, so I mean, you covered it. Like, the no surprises on the most expensive cards. Rielle is the most expensive at like $5, $5 or $6. Veilstone Amulet's about $5, and Felwar Stone is like $3.50.
Yeah.
Cut that, put in a different mana rock. I don't know. Like there's lots of ways to shave off a few bucks. And if you buy like the low, you buy the cheap ones, the little beat up ones, you probably have half of these commons from Ikoria anyway. Like I bet you could put this deck together for dirt.
Yeah,
dirt.
you're probably looking like put this deck together for like $30 if you buy the
probably.
Low.
Yeah, probably.
Really cool. Wicked. I love that.
Yeah, I love it. I friggin' love it.
Makes me want to.
And it's fun, right? It's a little bit fragile, right? That's the equation. If you want to make it more efficient and more resilient by using amazing cards and like the top interaction, it's like those are your $5 cards. Then it's a $100 deck. But if you just want to like rip a quick game of Commander, like sure, like $30, no problem.
Yeah, man, you live fast, you die faster.
Yeah, why not?
I love having decks like that. Like that's one of the things like I didn't do at first. And yes, sometimes you play a deck like that and you're like, oh man, here we go. And then you do die really quickly and you're like, I hate this. What was I thinking? I want to play and I want to win.
Yeah.
But just keep the faith, because sometimes those decks do just full win. Right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's talk about our favorite cards. I'll go first. I love me some Fling. We all know Fling. 1 in a red. It's an instant. As an additional cost, you sacrifice a creature. And Fling deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to any target. So we're looking at finishing off someone with this. We're looking at sacrificing, one of our big chimera things, or the crackling drakes. Works really nicely with Chasm Skulker if you want to deal a ton of damage, and then at instant speed, sack the big Chasm Skulker, and then have a bunch of these 1/1s that can also then attack the next turn. That's really cool. Fling is just, there's a reason we call this effect fling. This is the version of it, right? This is it.
Yeah. I mean, and the key aspect of it is that the sacrificing is part of the cost. So people can't remove it from under the fling.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to go with another one. Could have put this in the surprises and discoveries, but it's my favorite card of the deck. This is Land's Edge. 1 red for an world enchantment.
Ooh.
Only 1 world enchantment can be in play at a time.
That's
If
right.
if another player casts a world enchantment, the other ones go away.
Yep.
Discard a card. If the discarded card was a land card, Land's Edge deals 2 damage to target player or planeswalker. Any player may activate this ability. Let me tell you, this deck cycles a lot of cards. We draw a lot of cards. It is very common to have a bunch of lands in our hand, and sometimes this is the extra gas you need to just finish a player out. And your opponents probably can't do that as much as you can. Most decks want to play most of their lands. Maybe you got 1 or 2 to sacrifice here, or just to fling at people. But they're not going to be flinging them like we are. And you can't hit creatures, so all your creatures are safe. And we don't run planeswalkers, so they're safe too.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Land's Edge. Cool art there too. White bordered card. Ooh, woof.
Don't like that, but what can you do? What can you do?
What can you do?
I mean, you could buy the original from the Legends for $35
Oh,
if you want the black border one.
Oh, there is a black border one. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love a glass cannon. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I really don't. I think it's fun. It's more fun if more people have these types of decks too.
Yeah, man. It's like. I mean, I know that there is already a format called Brawl, but this feels more like a barroom brawl. It's just lots of haymakers, glasses shattering on people's heads,
and this
flipping tables.
This version though too, you're talking about big haymakers, big. Well, you usually think of big creatures crashing, attacking, combat. This has that, but it also has the element that the isnt player likes. This is you. This is I feel like this is you making a Gruul deck, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
It's big. It gets the creatures big, but it does it through instants, sorcery, cycling, drawing cards. It's an isnt player's Gruul deck.
Yes, that's the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah, it's really good. Really well done. Love it. Great work, everyone in the Discord, and great work to you as well. Okay, well that does it. That's our deck for this week. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back next week with another one. Remember, if you want to order some cards and you're living in Canada, check out Wizard Tower, wizardtower.com. Use our coupon code, and you can get you get a little slice off of the action there, and you can save yourself some dough. If you're outside of Canada, consider checking out the deck list. There's a affiliate link under the video on YouTube, and it's in the show notes of the audio show. Follow that link to TCG Player. Order those cards from the deck or anything else. You can go anywhere else in the site after you follow that link and order whatever cards you like, and that'll help support the show directly. We'll get a little cut of that. So that's one way to do it. Thanks so much again. Remember to check out all the good stuff. We got comedy videos out here. We got interviews. We got all kinds of stuff. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, consider supporting the show by going to patreon.com/commandersbrew.
And if you want to get any of the cards from our deck list, go to our TCG Player affiliate link below.
That helps us out too, and for a free way to help us out, consider sharing the show with some friends. Like and subscribe, add a comment or two.
See you later.
Bye.